All right, what's up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous bastards. I had us in the wrong room, so Brett just got to the right room. What's up, Brett? This is going to be an interesting conversation. You know, me and Brett recently, we had our little thing, but since then, Brett saw one of my streams. Brett did an apology. Which I appreciated. I'll go ahead and get that out of the way, Brett. I really did appreciate that. Kind of unexpected, out of the blue. But then a lot of stuff has happened to Brett, and you know, I've had people telling me for a couple of days now that Brett's channel's off air. I was actually subscribed, and I see that your channel is gone. And you had commented and had offered to come and talk, and I'm like, let's do it tonight. So Brett's here, and we're gonna have a conversation tonight. What's up, Brett?
I'm just chilling out, hanging out with you. Any questions you have, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Well, yeah, so, you know, you told me a little bit of it. And I do see we have people in the chat. What's up, chat? Hopefully more will join. But I did see Brett Keane was here, of course. Alice the Strange. Hello, Alice the Strange. Spooky Bed Hair is here. Kent Hovind CPA really hopes that we'll discuss a certain arrest of Smokey Saint. Not sure if we'll get there. I'm sure we'll be discussing Smokey at some point, Kent Hovind. Who else did I see? James W is here. Praise is here. What's up, Praise? Praise, I am that I'm not, that I wish that I was Rage. What's going on, bro? I said James W. Bernie, Revolver Bernie, your favorite person is here, Brett. So Sky Out is here. We've got some interesting ones. This is going to be an interesting conversation. So, you know, I'm not sure what happened this go around. And I think, you know, there's actually a lot up in the air about the last time. But yeah, your channel was recently taken down. I'll let you just kind of maybe talk about how that happened and what kind of led up to that.
Well, I put up some images on my Facebook group. I don't know if you joined it. I did send you an invite. I put up the images and emails that I got. It said that I had severe violations and all kinds of horrible stuff. They weren't very specific about it. They never really are. But they've given me the opportunity to appeal. But that could take days, weeks, months, you know, whenever they get around to, whenever they get done with the popcorn.
Yeah. I never really got an explanation for why my channel was demonetized outside of the fact that hate speech. And I'm like, well, I don't incorporate hate speech. I cover it, you know, I combat it. But you know, never any specific examples. And never specific videos. They pretty much just left it up to me to kind of try to decide, you know, what videos YouTube didn't like, I guess. Now, maybe there was a way to find out that I never figured out, but yeah, it was pretty much the way me and Ali had talked about it at the time was that either I can delete all of the videos where I cover, you know, hate speech of any kind, or I just remain demonetized. So yeah, YouTube definitely never really clarified much outside of the fact that they consider what I was doing to be hate speech. So you had mentioned that you thought, you know, you mentioned in the comment, I believe, that you thought maybe Will and Smokey had something to do with it. Why do you think that?
Well, first of all, Smokey and Will, they already had it out for me, and I caught Will in something really, really bad, and I think that it might actually be correlated with you yourself as well.
Probably. What was that?
Well, a while back, Mr. Will Kincaid, he said that he'd like to send me a gift to my home. And I didn't really trust him. I've never really put a whole lot of trust in him. I'm sure you've seen me laugh and be silly just like you have, but you don't have no trust towards him either. Now, I gave him a fake address just to see what he would do with that. And somehow it ended up in Revolver Bernie's lap, that fake address that I gave out there. And then voila, boom, It appears in Smokey's room as well as Will Kincaid's room, which neither men got rid of him after he was doing that over and over and over again.
Yeah, Revolver Bernie came on, my stream. I know you saw it. There's a lot there. Seems like there's a lot of history between you two. Yeah, that's
there's no history
there's
no history between he and I. He doesn't know me personally. He's never met me. He's just a guy on the internet that screws with people, just like you get screwed with by some folks.
Well, yeah, and it sucks that Will Kincaid, you guys used to be friends. That it sucks that if Will did that. So I'm trying to I didn't really prep for it. I figured I'd go off the cuff and kind of just let you talk and maybe ask some questions, because I definitely have some questions. I know you had told me that you're no longer a Christian, and I'm assuming that your channel being taken down, the beef that you're having with Will concerning an address being doxxed or whatever, and then that would probably be separate from whatever issues that you have with Smokey. How
there's a lot more than that.
I'll just kind of let you talk about it and kind of maybe I want to be fair, and I want to have a decent conversation. I'm not here to try to trap you, but I do want to kind of understand, because these people have been coming at me for months and months, and me and you, we've always kind of had our back and forth things. Sometimes we're cool, sometimes we're going at each other, but I think that usually we're both fair. You'll talk shit, I'll talk shit. Once the shit settles, we can kind of move beyond that. I've always kind of appreciated that about you, but they've come at me in a lot of ways. I'm sure it's not just them. So yeah, I thought that I kind of let it was a shock to me. I've only known the Christian Brett. I've never known the atheist Brett. So it was kind of a shock to me when you said that you're no longer a Christian, that you have left Christianity. So I'll kind of let you explain that, and then maybe I'll have some questions regarding it, because I'm still kind of processing it. I think I learned this morning.
Well, I'm not sure I'm going towards atheism.
But you're just not a Christian anymore.
Yeah. The issue is that from the moment I ended up walking away from the atheist position, I tried to find many different Christian communities out there. I reached out, and every single time I got myself an aggravation. Every single time I ended up running into people that you wouldn't define as Christian whatsoever. I'll give you an example. Ran into G-Man. Ran into Shanny for Christ, ran into Jason, ran into just a vigilant Christian. This guy, he said that he wanted me a part of his Christian community, and it turned out that he got caught sending dick pictures over to women on Facebook and a bunch of other horrible shit. I don't know if you know anything about vigilant Christian. It seemed like every damn group of Christians I got in with, there was really no, I don't mean to be offensive, but there was no difference between the atheist communities I'd already participated in from the kind of stuff that I was dealing with the Christians out there. I was looking for something a little bit more positive, a little bit more different. And it didn't turn that way. I've been around Christians that call people spicks, the N-word, homophobic names. I mean, you've heard Smokey, fag, over and over. I've got videos of him calling people the N-word, spick. And
I've had a couple conversations with him now to where the N-word was the topic of conversation. He feels like he should be able to use it in whatever manner that he wishes. And my position is, you've got free speech. You can say that word. You can also deal with the consequences. So he's totally loves to be bigoted. And I would agree, especially here in the YouTube circles, I have met a lot of good Christians out in the world, normal people. They know I'm an atheist. They don't have an issue with me being an atheist. They don't treat me like a dick. They're good people. But here on YouTube, it's been a different story altogether. And pretty much almost all of them, not all of them. There's been quite a few that I've talked to that have turned out to be really decent people. Justin Coe, Spartan Theology. I could name probably quite a few that are decent people here on YouTube, but it seems like this YouTube circle, they're not afraid to really get down in the mud. Now, when I first started doing live conversations, I prided myself on getting down in the mud, and I don't know, it's just the dirtier and dirtier it got, the more wearing it became. So I definitely understand that. So if you're not a Christian anymore, and I was just kind of offhandedly saying I never knew Brett the atheist. What direction are you leaning? I'm assuming more agnostic, or are you looking like I did when I first left Christianity, and are you looking at other religions to possibly be that positive staple you were looking for before?
No, because I don't know enough about the concept of God to join any kind of religion and try to represent it. I would say that I'm going back more to a formal, general type of thing, such as a theist. Just simply believe that there's something out there that did this, but not put any kind of label or names on it. I've told Christians in private and in the background repeatedly that I have issues with things in the Bible. I have issues with some Christians who are derogatory towards homosexuals. I don't have any beef with homosexuals, but I know that they're going to use the Bible to do that. And as far as Mr. CJ Cox, I notice he's out there. CJ, how many times did I leave comments to you and say, hey, man, I'm dwindling in my faith. I could really use somebody to talk to. And you said, yeah, sure, but you never did get in contact. You were always ready for a good yelling match with somebody in a debate or something, but just never found your time around to it. I did tell people I was starting to lose it, and they just didn't reach out. They didn't care.
Yeah, well, and I can somehow I can understand that. It does seem, I would say atheists and Christians are really worried about image and I don't know, like everybody thinks they're going to be some kind of YouTube star. And I'm speaking off the cuff now. I've been looking at a specific atheist all day, deciding on whether or not I'm going to talk about a specific situation. And so like I've kind of had these thoughts roaming through my head, and now they're just kind of coming out in regards to this. But I am like, me and you, we recently had our thing. You came at me, triggered me one night. I came back at you. I was very disrespectful on purpose. I know what's going to kind of push your buttons at this point. Like you kind of know what's going to push my buttons at this point. So when you did make the apology video, and I do want to talk about that because I do accept apologies, and I especially I kind of asked for it, but I didn't ask you for it. It's just something that you did on its own. I have seen Sassy's response to it, and I totally understand where Sassy's coming from. I'm not even aware of everything that was said between the two of y'all. But on my part, I at least I appreciated it and I accept it. So maybe tell me kind of like what led you to that, because I know I did go hard at you. I had Revolver Bernie on. Now when I had him on, I didn't understand the history that's there. But I know it probably wouldn't have changed. I still would have had him on because I'm in that. When I get in a shit talk frame of mind, I'm in a shit talk frame of mind. And he's been watching the channel for a while, so I definitely let people come on that watch the channel. Now, I think that had he started listing an address for you, I would have shut it down immediately and he'd have been off air. That's probably the difference between me and Will Kincaid. But yeah, I'll kind of let you speak to it. And, because you didn't just make an apology to me, you did, extend it to Sassy as well as a couple other people. So I'll let you speak to that.
Well, as far as Sassy Heathen goes, I I made the mistake one time being in Will's room and people were acting like animals and stuff, and I had actually allowed myself to drink a bottle of alcohol. And unfortunately, because I don't drink often, if I drink just a little bit, it messes me up. And I started talking some trash and being a total dickhead and everything. And I had invited her over to the show, and I said, she's probably going to fuck me over and be a bitch about it or something to that effect. It was ignorant of me. And she heard, and she's like, well, fuck this guy, which is totally understandable. So figured I'd throw the apology out. I didn't figure she'd forgive me or any of that, but I felt it was needed to be done.
Well, and I do appreciate it. I mean, at least you did it. And like I said, for me, it's the only apology I've gotten from anybody that's used that specific thing. The ice cream cone, that whole bullshit. I think that I've pretty much documented my breakdown as a result of that, and I do see one or two people in the side chat that might have definitely one that has something to do with that. But I'm being nice tonight. I'm not. I'm in a better place. I'm taking care of myself. I'm getting the help that I need to get. So I haven't been as adamant on YouTube as I usually am. I've been making a lot of videos. I've taken the last few days off from making videos, but I haven't been watching live streams. It was a complete shock to me when I saw that your channel was taken down. Other people had to tell me that you and Smokey and Will were fighting again. I didn't see it. For one, I don't watch Will's channel. I don't watch Smokey's channel. But for two, it's just I'm not really active in the community. Every once in a while you might find me in a Math Pig stream. You'll find me in a Laughing and Disbelief stream occasionally. But outside of that, I just haven't really been paying attention to what's going on in the community. I've really been focused on trying to fix some of my own shit. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in what led to it. Like I know about the Brett, the Shanny and Rev thing. You don't really have to speak to that. I've covered that. You've covered that. I have my opinions on that. You have your opinions on that. I didn't bring you here so I can try to trap you into a conversation about them. But if you can be general, just like, and you already kind of hit up on it a little bit with some of Smokey's antics, but like, what led to just the outright, I guess, to where that you think that maybe they even had something to do with pulling your channel down?
Well, I believe that they reported and flagged it down. I believe that also there was quite a... See, it's not just Smokey and Will that annoy me, Rage. It's the fact that a lot of these extremely negative people out here who claim to be Christian, they have a huge base behind them. There's no Christians. Well, there's like a handful of Christians who speak out against them. CJ Cox is one of them. There's a person called Andy who's a universalist.
Yeah, Andy Cap. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me talking a little bit about some of the things that I witnessed that bothered the hell out of me.
Yeah, please go for it. That's one of the things that I wanted to have you on. It's not, some in the audience would be disappointed. Oh, Rage isn't going to go at Brett, especially considering the last stream. But no, I try to be fair, and that's one thing that you did acknowledge about me is I do try to be fair. Yeah. I'm more than willing to give anybody a chance. Like I said, I've always been there. I brought you here so I can hear your side of it, because I'm sure Smokey and Will's out there running their side of it.
Well, you could easily just go over to their stream and watch to be able to verify everything I'm about to tell you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. They don't usually take shit down, so.
So with Andy, Andy is a universalist, and he believes everybody, including the devils, going to heaven. Well, he got into this belief system because he was concerned that his father may be in trouble for eternal torment. Smokey got up on a live stream and told this man that his father's probably squirming and screaming in hell. And it's obvious that this man was traumatized by the loss of his father. Then there's another guy named World Gospel News or something by the name of Bill, where Will decided to make images of an urn of his daughter that died, and Smokey allowed him to put that on the channel. And I talked to them both in the background. I said, my goodness, if you got a problem with Bill, go at Bill, but don't put his dead daughter or some kind of urn up there making fun of her like that. That's ridiculous. She was a disabled child who passed away. I've talked to people many times, and I've emailed people and said, and even spoken on Facebook and voice chat, don't do these kind of things. Take this down. Stop doing that. And it was just making me sick. I was seeing it more and more. And then they made you out to look like you were some kind of pedophile and shit. Yeah, there was some ignorant remarks because you pissed me off over the manatee thing, but they just kept pushing it. They just kept pushing, and I can't stand that.
And that's my thing. Like, I will totally accept some pushback on me, especially like if we're going at each other. You're gonna talk shit about me. I was furious at you for using the ice cream cone thing, but at that point, we were going at each other again, right? Like, so as furious as I was about it, I understood it. You're gonna go after that reaction just like I am, and I don't really try to hold those grudges. It's when is as you're saying, when you go to the depths that they've went utilizing my child, and to bring up another one like Speed of Sound, they completely mocked the death of his child, and yeah, like those things are completely unacceptable. That's not just YouTube you back and forth anymore, YouTube drama anymore. That's some real shit that, like, if you were in front of me, one of us is going to jail because I'm gonna fucking hurt you.
I completely understand. I've got a child that's had a lot of issues over the years, and to see that kind of stuff. See, me, you'll notice, yeah, I did an ice cream cone, but I never jumped on the train with Will and Smokey whenever they were doing the whole "you're a pedo" shit. That's nonsense. I know that.
Yeah, and I don't think he was doing that. Like, when you flashed the ice cream cone at me, I think you understood it, but you weren't trying to imply that I am this thing. You were trying to get a reaction from me, and you did. That's something that I'm working on. It's something that I can't just blame all the medications the doctors give me anymore. I can't blame the drinking when I was drinking. It's time to start taking responsibility for my own actions here. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying. I just had my first meeting with my new therapist. I think I found a good one. It's just starting, but I'm pretty hopeful for what we're going to be able to do. So yeah, I mean, there's a level of YouTube back and forth that is exciting. It's fun. Even talking shit back and forth is fun. But then once it gets to a certain point, it's not fun anymore. It's scary, and I think that's definitely in the area that I've been in. And I definitely don't think that you were intentionally trying to be a part of that. You were just trying to elicit a reaction from me at the time.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how it went.
So,
but as far as this, it's not just Smokey and Will, who, by the way, is an actual atheist. He's not a Jew or any of that. He just does that to aggravate people and be a bullshit. He's not.
Well, he straight up admitted to me at the beginning that the only reason he did it was so he can get required days off at work, because he wasn't getting any days off at work. Now I know now he claims to be that, but at the same time, I've never really heard him go too in depth with his theology. Like I haven't learned anything about the Jewish people from Will Kincaid. It just hasn't happened.
I seen CJ Cox go at Smokey, and I appreciate that he was actually trying to be a decent Christian and try to stop a wolf in sheep's clothing. But I've only seen a handful of Christians try to do it. The guy is rising. His base is rising, and I don't get that. How is a guy who's dressed up in a demon shroud with all this smoke and crap around him? And on top of it, I think that we both know that who the actual real pedo is here, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, I definitely think that, I think the person that was charged was him. I have been, since my original reporting on it, I've tried to be fair. If the dude wasn't convicted, I think that he's the dude. And I think that there's definitely problems with the allegations, but we live in America and you're not guilty until you're proven guilty. I think his actions kind of prove him guilty. But pointing the finger at other people, not just me, but others, definitely it shows an indication of guilt. So yeah, definitely, no mystery who we're talking about here. We're talking about Smokey's allegations. And yeah, I definitely 100% think that he's the guy. And I think that that's probably why he didn't have the conversation with me on Saturday. We were talking about having a conversation on Saturday. I told him I can do it at any time of the day, morning, afternoon, or night. And then he never got back to me. And I wasn't going to press it. That was his chance. He didn't take it. But yeah, and I know, Revolver Bernie's, a little upset. my intention here is not to bring up old shit about Brett. I did that in my stream. We've done that. My intention here is to find out kind of what's been going on, and I am the type of person that I will continuously give people chances. I've had this conversation with Will Kincaid. If even though I flipped out on Will and I decided to kind of shut down, the possibilities of talking to Will again, I am leaving conversation open with the man. I do hope that one day, I could at least have a decent conversation with the man again. Despite all the things that he said about me, despite the things that he said about my child. I'm not the type to hold grudges. I will get really, really pissed off in the moment. Now, I'm not trying to dismiss anything about anybody, but my focus here isn't to bring up old shit. It's just kind of to try to find out what's been going on. Like with your channel being taken down, I know the last time I've heard several things about why it could be. I know a lot of people in the chat's like, Brett's never going to be honest with you, and that's really up to Brett. But I thought I'd at least hear it out and try to find out what's been going on here. You know what I'm saying?
All the stuff I've told you, Rage, and you've observed for yourself.
Well, yeah, I've definitely observed it on Smokey's end. Yeah, I've definitely observed it on Smokey's end. The things that you're talking about, especially if you're talking about Bill, Andy Cap. I've seen that played out myself. But I guess the thing that I'm really interested in is the leaving of Christianity, because I was pretty hard on Khalil when he left atheism and became a Muslim, and I'm trying to kind of understand, because it wasn't that long ago I saw you drop a video about, and I've always known that you like Matt Powell, but then you kind of went a little bit further and you included Steven Anderson. I think it was like, I love Matt Powell or Steven Anderson, something like that. So to go from that to a couple of days later, I'm no longer a Christian, my channel's down. To me, it's just like, what the hell has happened the last few days that I haven't really been paying attention to what's been going on. So I guess that's the source of my confusion. I didn't see the video. I remember I was going to watch the video, but I never got a chance to.
The video's up on YouTube. It's not it's kind of it leads into a moral argument. If you watch it, you'll understand. It's basically just pointing them out and then going into a moral argument about wrong and right and stuff between the two different groups. You can watch it later if you want to. That's still up on YouTube.
So I know, but I guess my question is, because the last time you were here, we actually played, Matt Powell calling for the genocide of gay people. And you said that you'd never heard that before. You were going to process it. And then, you came out with a video, not only going beyond Matt, but embracing Steven Anderson, who is even worse than Matt. So I guess I'm kind of just interested in, how do you go from that point to just no longer, like, I can understand like being mad at Smokey and Will, but to like give up Christianity when it seemed like, it seemed to me like maybe you were becoming more fundamental with it.
No, if you get to watch the video, you can see where I'm going with it.
All right. Yeah. Like I said, I never got a chance to watch it. And I'm trying hard to be nice. I don't want this.
Let me ask you something. Raging, let me ask you something. You know that I left for almost a year, right?
Yes.
You know how many times G-Man, Shanny, any of the Christian community called me to ask me how I was doing?
No.
Not once. Not once did any of them give a rat's ass. They only seemed to care whenever I had views and subscribers. That seemed to be the way it was. And whenever I was having my health issues and I had to go in and get surgery, guess how many of them called? Guess how many of them told me they loved me while I was on the internet? But then whenever I'd be off of it, how many times they actually got a hold of me and said, "Hey, Brad, I'm praying for you," or something like that? Never. There's only one guy who ever, well, there's two people that have reached out to me consistently. Jesus Freak 777 and Tommy from the Bronx is a really popular atheist, but he wasn't praying for me. He was just worried about me.
So I guess my question is, did you ever, like, was it ever then about Jesus? Like, was it about the community that you left atheism and became a Christian? Or because I don't know, it seems to me, and I've seen YouTube Christians talk about this. A lot of YouTube Christians will they'll make YouTube Christianity their life, but they don't have that real life church to go to, right? They don't have those real life Christians to go to, that real life Christian community to be a part of. So, like, I guess my question is, if you're gonna leave a religion based on people not reaching out to you, could it be, was it ever about the God? Like, I don't understand how you can stop believing in the God and call yourself a Christian just because the YouTube Christians are shit. I mean, that's
not all
confusing
it
to me.
is. It's not all it is. Unfortunately, in the last few years for me, while being doing the Christian gig, a lot of my family members have gone skeptic, and just as well as I that if your child is a non-believer, then boom, they go to hell. All my family members are going to burn in hell according to this religion. My son is a skeptic, and I love him. I'm proud of him. He is the greatest son you could ever have, but according to this fucking religion, he's going to burn in hell. So these are the kind of things that I've dealt with behind the scenes, and I have reached out to Christians and said, is there any way around it? I listened to Andy about his universalism where everybody goes to heaven, and that sounded all good, but it just simply wasn't biblical. If you go with the Bible and you go with Christianity, 90% of my family burns, and I don't want to be in any kind of heaven where they're not at. And if that doesn't make sense to Christians out there, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, yeah, but that's something that you would have known when you converted, though, right? Like,
in the last couple of years, this has been happening, and I've been praying over and over and trying to talk to my family members about things, but they're not budging. They're just not. It's not ever going to change. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to be a part of something where my family gets tormented for the rest of existence.
Well, I mean, I totally understand that. And I'm not trying to tear into you here. I'm because that had to be a consideration. All right. So I'll put it this way: one of the criticisms against you is that you flipped from being an atheist to Christianity because for the grift, for more donations, blah blah blah. So now, like, when you put it like, hey, I'm leaving Christianity, I'm mad at these people, do you understand, like, that could feed that narrative about you? I guess that's kind of where I'm trying to lead to, like, this is going to feed that narrative that you was grifting for Christianity. I mean, it wasn't just long ago that you were espousing how evolution is just completely fake and evolution makes no sense. But
I still question that and have issues with the evolution.
Well, if you have an issue with hellfire, though, like that's one of the main issues that I had when I became an atheist. It seems to me that would have been an issue, something that you would have resolved during your conversion back to Christianity, because it's not like new news, is it?
Well, there's a lot of things I had problems with, but I would go and I'd talk to people privately about it and discuss my views. Coming right out on video talking about it, it would have just stirred a bunch of trouble and caused even more drama and aggravation.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I totally understand the whole hellfire thing, and it's like kind of one of the questions that because my family is kind of the opposite. Most of my family are religious, and then a good chunk of them are fundamentally religious. So it's been, it's you believe that God is going to send me to hell and I'm going to like burn forever. You won't tell me that, but that's what you believe, and then you can't understand why I take issue with things like that. So it's kind of like a reverse situation. I completely understand the hellfire thing. And yeah, I guess I can, if it's been this internal struggle that you've been going through for a while, especially when you have people like me saying, hey, he's a grifter, he's not a Christian, but then you have Christians saying the same shit as well. It's probably got to be very wearing and taxing on you. But I guess my ultimate question is this just you said you're going back to a theism. You're not going to become an atheist again. But is this just a crisis in your Christian faith, or is this merely just a reaction to some shit that's went down over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
The crisis has been there for a while, and I've reached out to people. I've reached out to G-Man, and he's always given me the, everything be fine, blah, blah, blah. If you just take your family to church and get them saved and yada, yada, yada. It's not that simple. When someone has a set in their head that they don't believe, it's not, you can't just click your fingers and make people believe things and all that. So it just got to the point, I don't know if you realize it, but I was pushing for annihilationism for a while there. Did you see that?
Well, I saw that it became a conversation in the Christian community. I think, I just don't, I don't know, like, I don't watch Smoking Will shit anymore. So, I kind of lumped you there. I wasn't watching your channel hardly at all. There was a time a long time ago when I actually enjoyed watching Christians talk about me. But I think I got over that phase in the last 6 months or so, for good reason. But all right. So, and I'm trying to understand the mind of Brett Keane, which is weird. I know, like, the chat's probably like, why even try? But so like, what's the plan now? You're gonna try to get the channel back, but when you get the channel back, is going to be a new direction. Like, are you gonna? Is this like Brett Keane's moment? Hey, I've kind of woken up to some things about myself that maybe I need to fix some of my behaviors, or is it going to be like, I'm going to get my channel back, I'm not going to call myself a Christian anymore, but it's still going to be the same format, that kind of thing?
I don't really know what to do. I haven't known for a while. It just started getting to the point where I was doing the same kind of redundant videos. I don't know if I was trying to convince other people or trying to reconvince myself. It just started, how it is to start walking away from faith. It's not an easy thing to do. It's really difficult, really challenging. You try to hold on with all you got, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I guess what I'm asking is, have you seen things about yourself that you don't like?
Of course.
Because I mean, that would be like, I don't. I'm trying to articulate how I want to say it. It's like, like I say, I truly believe anybody can change. I believe, through whatever method, whether it's seeking help or just looking internally, looking inwardly, seeing some of your behaviors that are bad. I think that people can change, and I want to be open to, allowing people to change. But then, in the moment, anybody can say that they're going to change. It's going to require, some consistency moving into the future, right? Like I can say, hey, I'm trying to work on not flipping out, not losing my shit, not getting all emotional. But until I start showing that, my words mean nothing, so I guess what I'm asking is this your moment, Brett, that this is, hey, I'm going to make a serious attempt to do this YouTube thing better than I have done it, since I started doing it? I guess that's the question, is this that moment for you, or is this just, another war? I understand YouTube wars. I've fought quite a bit of them. I guess that's the question I'm trying to ask.
I've actually spoken quite a bit on my videos. I know that you don't watch all of them, about some of the things or negative aspects about myself that I'd like to be able to fix. Unfortunately, there's some things I can't, like bipolar, manic depression. Can't do nothing about that. Suicidal thoughts seems to be a thing that happens quite frequently. Getting along with people. I think that it'll be a little bit more easier to get along if you're not trying to push some kind of ideology onto people or do that kind of
deliberately
thing.
trying to push buttons. I'm
Yeah.
as guilty of that as anybody.
Right. There's that, but I don't know. I have a feeling that because I'm not holding certain people's views and ideas, a lot of these people are going to end up just walking away and I'll have to find all new friends. It's usually how it works. If you become a Christian, you lose all your atheist buddies. If you become an atheist, you lose all your religious buddies or whatever. It's always like that. It's a game.
All right. So yeah, I agree with that. I think, I isolate myself, so I kind of like push people away. Like I'm starting to realize, sure, in the moment, I think the thing that happened with John Peterson, right? Like, I in the moment, I definitely think that I was right. Like, if I want somebody in the room and they haven't broken my rules, that person should be able to stay in the room. But at the same time, I think my reaction was just one of the ways that I isolate myself, like push people away. Something that I'm definitely got to work on. Something that I'm going to be talking to my therapist about. But the thing is constantly, trying to be a better person. Trying, like from your video, and like, while I accept your apology, your apology video, other people didn't. I would still hope that, you know, there's a lot of things that people say about Brett Keane that have been said for a long time, and whether those things are true or not, I'm not trying to rehash any of that stuff. I know, like, the chat wanted me to bring up stuff. I don't really want to bring up stuff. That's not my intention here. My intention here is to like pretty much tell you, Brett, that you can rechange yourself. You can rebrand yourself. You can make yourself a better person. I'm kind of hoping that that's what this will be, the catalyst. Now, this isn't the first time you've been down this rodeo, but like, I guess my thing would be that you can do it better than you've done, just like I can do it better than I've done here. And I guess that would be my hope from this conversation with you, is to say, like, hey, if you took that initiative, if you were that better interlocutor from here on out, well, I think that would go a long way, and eventually people would respect you again, as opposed to, I get mad and I'm calling you the manatee and I'm making fun of you, and you're coming back at me. I truly do think that people can change, and I want to be open for that, and I want to, like Brett Keane, but it's going to take a while, just like it would take a while for me to show that I'm going to make the improvements that I'm trying to make right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I admire the fact that you're getting this therapy thing. I need to get me some therapy as well. I've
resisted it for a long time
for it, though.
I was raised, you take care of your own problems. Definitely I can't ever remember my dad trying to go to a shrink or anything. I think that this is something that I put off for a couple of years that I should have done well before I even stopped drinking, and especially once I started exhibiting behaviors that I had always attributed to my drinking, even after I stopped. So it took long enough. it took you flashing an ice cream cone at me and me losing my shit.
I'm sorry it upset you that much.
Well, I mean, it's YouTube is YouTube, right? So I don't know. Maybe I articulated that in the wrong way. So, like, right now, Revolver's he's going off about you. He's probably going off about me too. Everybody knows I don't pay too much attention to the chat. I should pay more attention to the chat. Kind of hard to have a conversation, run the show, and look at the chat. But people, you've had a long history on YouTube. It's gonna really take a lot for people to kind of get over that. Like, I'm not sure of everything that was said about Sassy.
Right.
I saw part of Sassy's video, so I understand some of the things that she's upset about. And yeah, like, it would take a long time for, like, Sassy to be like, what, that Brett Keane, he's a changed man now. And I guess, like, the ultimate thing, like the confusion about the channel dropping and now you're not a Christian anymore, is, I guess, my great hope would have been Brett Keane is having that moment. You're having that moment that I had when when I was a homophobe and I stopped being a homophobe. The moment that I had when I was a racist and I stopped being a racist. It's like that's kind of what I'm hoping for this. And I know like the people in the chat, oh, Rage, you're being stupid, but no, I really hope that. I hope that this is the moment that Brett Keane can just do it a little bit better, and we don't, doesn't have to be like some of the antics that you've used throughout the past.
Well, as far as dealing with Christians and all that, I can't get along with many different religious people for certain reasons. One, if I'm not reading the right version of the Bible, if I'm not the right denomination, if I don't believe the Trinity, or I'm not a Unitarian, there's some kind of theological thing that's going to get me kicked out of the club. And it's been happening for too many damn years, and it gets disgusting.
And that's pretty adamant in the community here on YouTube for Christians right now, is everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else saying you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, so how am I supposed to know when solid bar theology is what it is? What do I just pick and choose? No matter what I pick up, no matter what I go with or think is the most rational, I'm screwed either way. All these damn, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, man.
Well, yeah, and I can definitely see that. I definitely can. I always embrace change for the better. Always. Sometimes change isn't always a good thing. Change for the worse, definitely not a good thing. Change for the better, I always try to embrace that. I like I said, I'm totally willing to overlook everything that anybody's done to me. It's just some things will take a lot longer than others, and I told that to Will straight out. And I don't watch his channel, so I don't know if he's still doing some of the same old shit that he was doing. But I'm like, dude, if you could just stop with the bullshit you're doing, eventually we could probably be cool again. But it's never gonna happen now while you're talking this shit and you're doing these kind of things. And at one point he was expressing like some kind of interest in that, but then it went to shit, and mainly went to shit because everything that was going on affected me psychologically, and that was coming out of me. So my ultimate thing is, I don't want to revert to, seeing you as the manatee again, Brett Keane. I want to see you as a good interlocutor. Sometimes I think your questions can be really intriguing. Sometimes I think your approach sometimes is spot on. It's just some of the things that you say and do that kind of have always left me confused. So I guess that's, I don't know. I was hoping for maybe a little more to like why the channel was taken down, or why you left Christianity. So I don't know how I feel about it right now. I don't.
I understand it's confusing. I'm still very confused and aggravated about it. Not really sure how to articulate it in a way where it just all makes sense to you. This is years and years of build-up. And you have to realize,
so you've been thinking about this, like this has been like an internal struggle for the last couple years at least.
Yes. And then I tried to find communities of Christians that I was hoping would be able to help me through it. And I reached out. And there's been a couple people that were interesting and sometimes helpful and got me through the day. But it all comes creeping back on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's, well, I guess I'll put it this way, because this is where I'm struggling, is just, to me, if you believe that God is real, if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, or whatever iteration you place in that Trinity, that's the reality of it, right? So, like, I don't believe that God is real. I don't believe that Jesus is real. And no matter how other atheists are going to treat me, I'm still going to stay an atheist, right? Like, it's pretty much just like, fuck all of y'all. I do my own thing anyway. May
I point out something to you real quick?
Well, yeah, but I guess, I'm trying to put that, like, that's what I'm not getting from this. Because, I hear the internal struggle, but it also seems like the catalyst is this recent rash of, Smokey coming out against you. Maybe, Will Kincaid, somebody you considered a friend for a really long time, coming out against you like he has. That seems to be the catalyst for it.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the catalysts for sure. It gets to a point where you draw a line in the sand and you say, if this happens, this happens. If it keeps on getting worse, if you don't actually, for me, Rage, I've said this over and over in my videos, even for the past couple of years, I've never heard an audible voice of God. I've never seen a manifestation or all these ghosties that people tell me about on the show all the time. I am fascinated when people tell me they see ghosts and spirits and all this. I never have. I never have had anything like that. And I was hoping that you would take a look at your screen real quick. I understand atheists are going to be lovable out there, but look at Sky Out. Sky Out could have said something to the effect of, Brad, I'm sorry that you're having these issues. Can we talk later about this? Maybe I can help you. But no, it's Brett be whining. Very good. Very Christian of you. Mr. Lizard. I've talked to this guy just a couple days ago on a show, and we get along, but what is he right now? So what's the manatee up to now? And by the way, he's the same guy that Smokey called a spick. Let's see what else we got.
Yeah, Smokey hates Mr. Lizard.
You see what I'm saying? And then, you could just, any one of these Christians, they could have been like, Brad, I understand you're hurt and you're aggravating. Let's talk. That's what I would have done if I seen somebody in that position. But nope, it's you fucking suck. You're a wine bag, blah, blah, blah. Does that make you want to like join the Jesus Club when you hear shit like that? Are you kidding me?
Well, no, I mean, there's really not much that would make me want to join that club to begin with. But I guess, like my point is, I have conviction in my beliefs, and my beliefs are that I've become a more hard atheist. I don't believe that God exists. And I think it's ludicrous to believe that God exists. And just because atheists are being shitty to me, or atheists are being shitty, isn't going to change that for me, right? Like, just because, communist Russia was supposedly an atheist state and Stalin went out and killed millions upon millions of people. And I'm going to get in trouble for that because, we fight against that false equivalency there. But just say that that's the complete 100% truth of it. Atheists are shit. Is that going to stop me from being an atheist? No, it's not. I'm still going to, I believe what I believe. It's not going to mean that I'm going to be an asshole like the rest of them either, and by no means am I saying that all atheists are like that. I'm just trying to make that analogy that, if you have a faith in God, that the actions of human beings really shouldn't rattle that. But again, you're saying that you've never had this voice that a lot of Christians pretend to have, hearing the voice of God. Have you ever had like a personal experience that would have led you towards belief in a deity?
I thought I did a while back. I thought I did about, I'd say, around the time that my daughter came into the world. Do you want to hear it, Raging? It's a little bit of it's going to be a time-consuming.
I feel like I've done most of the talking here, so yeah, I'd definitely like to hear from you.
Okay, so one of the things that caused me to even start going towards the concept of God in the first place was my daughter going into the hospital. Whenever she was born with hydrocephalus, meningitis, and the doctor said that she might die. And whenever you're a father and you think that you might lose your child, you'll try anything, even if it means praying out to some invisible entity that supposedly exists out there. Well, my daughter ended up getting better after 9 surgeries done by doctors, and I started to convince myself that this was a blessing. I even said, if there is a God and you save my daughter, I will delete every one of my atheist videos. I will get rid of all that atheism stuff, and I will serve. Well, the problem was, even though my daughter got better, and she's terrific today at 19 years old, beautiful girl and all this, the thing is when I spent time in that children's hospital, there were non-believers and religious people there where the religious people prayed and their children still died. There were non-believers who watched their children die. So I had to question myself for the longest time. Did I really get a blessing, or were we just lucky? Because why didn't God help out those non-believers' children that were dying from leukemia and all kinds of things? Why didn't God help out the Christians out there who were much stronger in their faith than me, and they were praying? but their babies still died. And I've had to struggle with that for years. And maybe some people don't understand that. And I've tried to talk to people.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely understand that. I think that that's one of the things that led me away from belief in a deity is seeing pain and suffering in the world. One of the things that I thought would happen for me, I think one of the last things I was clinging to in hope for having some personal experience with a God was when my child was born. And while it was a miraculous moment in itself, it was by no means anything that I would consider to be spiritually enlightening. Nothing that would prove to me like this God thing exists. And I think that I was holding on to that. And when that didn't happen, that really began the process for me to be able to really come out of my shell, become the atheist I am today, which is one that just doesn't care anymore. I don't care if people know about it. I don't go out in public trying to be a dick to Christians, but at the same time, I don't go out in public hiding myself either. Everybody at my work knows what I am. And I don't think that I would have gotten there if that moment hadn't happened, where I was waiting for this spiritual thing when my child was born that just never really happened for me. So yeah, I guess I kind of get that. I guess my confusion and I totally understand the struggle is, so I guess, like, have you come to the conclusion that it's the Christian God, this thing just can't be real? You mentioned hell, but is it how am I trying to word this? Is it the fact that the things that you've read in the Bible, the years, I'm not even sure how long you've been a Christian now, or how long you was a Christian, but all the years that you were talking about Christianity, trying to learn about Christianity, that you come to the conclusion that the Christian God just isn't real. Maybe there's a God of the universe, but this Christian thing, that's going to send all your family members to hell, that's not real in itself. Is that,
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I guess that's my confusion. Is it Will Kincaid and Smokey, just being dicks, and not just them, but just everybody, people not reaching out, not being friends, not being the Christians that you thought that they should have been? Or is it that you have decided, hey, that hell thing really is a kind of a no deal type of situation? I'm not ready to give up on God yet, but that Christian God is that's just cray cray.
It's not really like that. It's just like, I'm not, like I said in my videos, like tons and tons of times, I've never heard God speak to me. I've never been embraced. I've never heard God whisper in my ear and say, I love you. Nothing like that. So I don't know. It could be, but it could also be Allah. It could be pagan deities. I don't know. I hang out with pagans, and they got pretty neat stories. I got a guy named Von Helton who tells me that he casts spells on all his internet haters, and they all drop dead. How about that? That sounds neat, right? Do you
But
mind?
They don't really drop dead, though.
I kind of shared something really emotional with you, and I kind of need a cigarette. Can I take just a brief moment for a smoke?
Oh yeah, sure, go for it. I'll collect my own thoughts here.
You
Go for it.
Ask me anything you like there, Raging. Okay, just anything that you want. It's cool.
Oh yeah. Take your time, smoke a cigarette. I'm gonna go back up in the chat, and I'll talk to the chat while you're gone. Maybe address a few things. See a lot of people in the chat. Amy Newman's here. What's up, Amy? Sky Out. I heard Sky Out said, get off the drugs. The only time I've done like illicit drugs was when I did the mushrooms the other night. Every other thing, Sky Out, has been prescribed by my doctors, and hopefully, like, I haven't. There is, like, I'm still doing my steroid, and I'll be back on my pill regimen at some point next week, because the shot is starting to wear off. But since this foot's been good, I haven't been taking my pills. James Soga party with ICP at Woodstock. The only time I thought they were cool. I was never big ICP fans. I was an Eminem guy. Who else we got? Exactly Rage, the Synagogue. What's up, CJ? I see that Jill is here. KCA Randy, what's up? Revolver Bernie says Brett is angry with me and is a coward to address me. I've also seen this. I guess you guys are saying I'm a grifter, but what's new? Revolver, you did say you're friends with Will and you're taking up Cat's Cree, so yeah, whatever. Jill's here. What's up, Jill? Scientists have proposed, scientists think, scientists believe is literally what the textbooks read on a bio. I'd rather trust in what God has proven rather than what atheists believe. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Jill, only you can bring that a level of stupid. They let Bernie Revolver into an open room. That's too much. I don't know what that was about. I kept my word to join. I'm not sure what that's about. What's up, Monkey for Banana? What's up? Hey, Brett, I'm an atheist and I'm empathizing with you. Yeah, I guess that's like my main point is I'm trying to empathize. I can be a bigger man and not be so petty all the time. That doesn't mean like it's very possible, Brett gets his channel back and he'll start making videos about me again. That's off. Like this isn't me trying to be a friend of Brett. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Angry Manatee, no more Gorm for Lizard. My sock is rocks and knocks rotten cock. I believe that's Will Kincaid, but Will, you're not banned from the channel. You can just use your regular name. My lizard is actually Tog confirmed. Mr. Lizard is actually Tog confirmed. I've been in the same room with both of them, Spooky. Change is a good thing and helps promote growth as a person. It's hard, but it helps us to truly appreciate life as a whole. Yes, and that's kind of like, I want to give anybody room to be able to change, but at the same time fully understand, and hopefully I'm sure Brett fully understands that, like I said, anybody can say change in the moment. That's going to take some time. That's going to, like I said, I could, how many times have I said, I'm not going to flip out on people anymore, and then I flip out on people? Like you have to make the effort. You have to it's gonna take time to change patterns. You have to make the effort to make the changes. So it's not something that just happens immediately. Jill being Jill, let the woman keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but let them subject themselves, just as the law also says. Jill, why you still hate women? Again, exactly. Who cares what Will Smokey or G-Man or Mr. Lizard say? Yeah, like, I'm the last person that wants to talk somebody out of having a crisis of faith. Trust me on that. I guess my confusion here is, as I try to point it out in my last bout of questioning, is I can understand it a lot better if you're like, hey, that God thing, that's just cray cray. I got a little bit of that with the hell thing, but the confusion is I don't understand leaving a faith based on the other people, but I think we've talked about that again with the two grifters, one cup.
I'm back.
What's up, man?
Well, let me ask you something. If you're joining all kinds of different groups of people and you're trying to find a certain thing in your life, and you're trying to find people who might be able to teach you and help you and strengthen you and help you grow as a person, and all they're doing is dragging your ass down, don't you think it's a rational, logical decision to sooner or later walk away from people who are more of a drag than benefit to you?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. And like, I totally understand that. I totally, I definitely understand not wanting to be around the shit crew, for one. Like, shit, I've been calling for people to do that forever. You had mentioned something to me, and it kind of got me thinking, like, like when we were doing the video games, we were playing Elder Scrolls, and I remember like what turned me off from playing in the group was all of like the homophobia and the transphobia talk but as you said what you were saying, I started thinking about that, and I'm like, well, yeah, that was never Brett, that was never Will, that was like mainly John Grishala. Like John Grishala would be like saying all of that shit. So I can totally understand how that would get tiring, especially if you don't actually have those views. Now, I'm not sure what your views are on any of those things. But yeah, it did get me thinking, like, that's what turned me off about playing in the groups of Elder Scrolls. I don't want to be playing video games and hear all of these, just blatant homophobia, right? But then when you said that, I'm thinking, and it was mainly John. I think probably a little bit of Von Houten, but never Will and never you. I would get very that I got tired of that, as after a couple days. After a couple days, like I wasn't playing in the group anymore. So I totally understand that. But at the same time, it's like that's kind of been, your thing. You bring in all of these people and they pretty much have the freedom to say whatever the hell they want to say. So it's like, is that going to change? Are you going to try to keep better people around you? I know you mentioned like Jesus Freak. The only interaction that I had with that guy was that my explosion on your channel with him. So I have a bad view of that guy. But like I don't know. Are you going to try to keep? Are you going to try to keep a better crowd around you? Is that moving forward? Is that what I'm getting from it?
Well, it's difficult, Raging. It's difficult to be able to find good folks out there. There's two different reasons, Raging. One, there's a lot of fake people on the internet, obviously, fake people in reality. But then there's the other problem of, because I've been on the internet so long and there's things I have done wrong, and then there's things that people have made mountains out of molehills, and then there's people who've just outright lied their ass off. So everybody sees that kind of crap, and every single time I meet a new person, I got to go through the same bullshit over and over and over and answer questions and be interrogated. And it's like, give it a break. So I'd like to see what it would be like for once on the internet to just be Brett Keane, not the Christian Brett Keane, not the atheist Brett Keane. Just be me and see who actually gives a damn for me for who I am.
Well, one thing, I think you're interesting. I haven't watched your channel much recently. I did watch a couple of the videos, reviewed a couple of the videos, but I've always found you interesting. For one, you have a good voice for it. I think voice is something that's important. So I would definitely probably watch more if it was, if it was content not so targeting people such as myself, like or you know how your streams can be. Classic instance, like my first blow up ever on YouTube was in your room, and it was like one of my best meltdowns still to this fucking day. It was with Jesus Freak, and it was we were talking about children in cages on the southern border. I was drunk, I lost my shit, just absolutely melted down, throwing my microphone, throwing my headphones. I'm sure that meltdown's still out there in the archive somewhere. And it was the first time that I'd actually had a conversation with anybody to where they were just all, and Jesus Freak was just all out, just blatant with the bullshit he was spitting when it came to these children on the southern border. And that was the atmosphere you kind of promoted on those streams, was people couldn't say whatever the hell they wanted to say. It was 100% free speech. And I think that while, that could be considered admirable by some, it's definitely breeds a very toxic atmosphere, especially when people feel free to just push out slurs. So I guess like what I'm leaning towards, you want to be Brett Keane moving forward. You don't want to be judged based on the past. I totally get that. Is like, what are the things that you're going to do to kind of make it different than the way it was before, when you do come back to YouTube?
Don't know how to handle the shows, but if you really want to know what I'd like to talk about during my shows, I'd like to talk about music and art and creative stuff, movies, entertainment, fun things. I don't want to be sitting there watching Christians killing each other over what damn Bible they're supposed to read, or if they're into sass or bull ass or whatever it is that they're doing. I'd like to be able to have a nice conversation. Problem is, you get a bunch of people in the room, you know how it is, trying to tell people to behave themselves, act like adults, control their behavior. They're just like, well, fuck you, you know.
Oh yeah, trust me, I've found that out, and I definitely, I think it can go the other way. I think that, here on my channel, there for a long time, we went in the opposite direction to where we was too strict, and that became like a conversation killer. But I think that, if you want to have a good conversation, that you've got to find that middle ground. Now, I've struggled with that the entire time I've been on YouTube. It's why I brought in Ali and John and all those moderators to begin with, because I realized I couldn't quite do it. And we never really achieved. As I said, we went too far with it during the Ali days. And then, if I had my way, I'd probably be a lot more akin to kind of what you do, although I would never tolerate just abject hatred. Like that night with Jesus Freak, and it wasn't just Jesus Freak, it was Von Helton especially too. Like I remember, like I wasn't so mad at you, although I think I was getting pissed at you a couple times that night too, but it was mainly Von Helton and Jesus Freak. And just the way Jesus Freak was coming at me was like, I know Trumpers, and I've had conversations about children on the southern border with Trumpers in real life. Man, it never got to that. Just like he felt just totally enabled to say whatever the hell he wanted to say with no repercussions whatsoever. And it took me back, and it really, I mean, you was there, you saw the meltdown.
That's another thing. After all that stuff that went down about, I don't know, less than 2 years ago about with the presidency change and all that, I've pretty much given up on politics. You're not going to see very many videos on my channel having anything to do with that. I just, I feel like our government is shit, no matter who it's ran by, and I just don't want any part of it anymore. I don't feel like my vote even matters.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably, I don't know. I don't think anybody should give up on politics. Just become knowledgeable on it. And I think with knowledge, it's fairly easy to start going left. But that's always my thing. I want to make leftist out of everybody. If I could, I would. I wish I could, but I can't. But that would be like
Raging. I didn't really. If I know that you were drinking that night and everything, but
I was drunk as hell.
I tried to make it clear in my videos. I didn't give a shit about the right wing, left wing, or any of that. There was a guy who was saying a lot of smooth shit, as those presidents tend to do. And I thought maybe this is finally the person out of all these years who's going to come forward and do something at least. But nothing was done. It was all fail as usual. So I'm done with politics. I'm sick of it. And that's another thing that makes you lose friends real quick, or causes people to break their headphones. That pun intended.
Oh yeah. I think I might have broke my headphones that night. So yeah, I guess that's do you think? So if you don't get this channel back, you've made several channels now. Do you make another channel? Do you and then do you try to take it to that different level and have those different conversations? I guess what I'm asking is there any, like, is this a new Brett Keane, or, is there a chance that, I don't know, as they're saying, it's like a new grift?
I just want to be able to talk about things that are actually fun and things that distract me from depression and all that. I think it'd be a relief on folks like yourself, because you won't have to worry about coming in and having to get into a theological discussion.
I'll tell you, me and John was definitely having that conversation about trying to do a different channel to where we just talked about different shit. And I kind of wish that we would have, honestly, sometimes. But at the end of the day, this is what I love talking about. This is what I'm passionate about. Atheist activism. It's become the great passion of my life. But I would definitely come out, my thing is, I want to be more responsible, and that's going to take time for me, right? Like that's going to, that's going to take me talking to my therapist and dealing with my own issues. But definitely, in regards to how I've platformed people or going on to streams with individuals, I want to be a lot more responsible about that. So I definitely come on your channel and shoot the shit about nonsensical stuff. But like right now, especially, I'm trying to keep myself out of things that's going to be in any way kind of toxic for me, to where I'm going to show my ass once again live on YouTube.
So there you go. If you end up showing up in some of my live rooms, you can talk about your day and something happy that happened to you. You don't have to worry about, Mr. Keane saying, "Hey, let's talk about some theology situation." None of that kind of stuff.
Well, I always love talking about theology. It's become one of my great passions. Spending all this time reading philosophy, but I'm still making the time for my theology. Trust me.
I hear you. Well, there's probably, even though I am wanting to do a different thing, it's obvious that a lot of people who come in, whether religious or non-believer, they're going to have their own things they want to talk about and go into. So I'm sure there'll still be people that you can argue with on that. It's just me. I'll just hang back and have a cigarette if it turns into a cluster. You know what I mean?
So it's kind of weird. Like I probably should have really considered this more and been paying attention to what's been going on. But I don't know. Like, so answer me this. I've heard a lot of things. Your channel went away the last time. I've heard a lot of things. I've heard it was because you said the N-word. I heard it was because other people were saying the N-word. I've heard because, homosexual slurs were getting thrown around. I heard that you took it down yourself. Not from you. These are all things that I've heard from different people. I've never actually heard it from you. This last, I made fun of you about the vacation thing. I'm not doing that now. What was the reason that YouTube took down your channel the last time? Or did you do it?
I terminated a channel myself, deleted it because I figured I was going to give up. Over 20 times in my entire 15 years, I felt like giving up. And I would make a video where I say, I've had enough. And I really did have enough. But after you do like a month or a year away from it all, you think, well, maybe if I come back, things can be different. Maybe things will be better. But they don't. People on the internet don't have like a time scale. It doesn't matter how much time goes by. They just...
Internet never forgets, man. It never forgets. And yeah, it's, I can totally see that. Like I've thought about stopping several times. Like I said, me and John were talking about creating another channel. We were going to do one talking about sports. We were going to do one that was just like talking about, pop culture, music, movies, stuff like that. We were going to do a debate channel, because you do get tired of doing the same thing. Ultimately, like what keeps me fueled is my passion for this activism. My passion for normalizing atheists. Even though I've come to some conclusions that a lot of atheists are assholes. I've also known a lot of great atheists, but the one thing that I do understand is equality, and I fight for equality for all people. And that's my great passion. So that keeps me fueled. That keeps me coming back. I've taken, every time I tell myself I'm going to take this long extended break, it never turns out to be as long as I thought it would be, because I just, that fire might get dimmed, but it doesn't go out. And if I give it a day or two, then it's usually like full kindle, just a blast. And again, so for me, this is become the extension of that political activism that I was doing 7 to 8 years ago. Became disillusioned with the Democratic Party here in Michigan, and kind of left doing this local politics bullshit and started doing this YouTube thing. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, I am this different animal. Like I'm totally OCD. I get fucking obsessed about shit. And that kind of fuels me to do what I do. But I guess the question is this just a crisis of faith? You know, because the stream is essentially, we agreed to talk about, you know, you're not a Christian anymore, and I was curious about that. So and you said a couple times you don't really know, but I'm trying to kind of flesh it out. Like if you were to have a conversation with somebody like CJ the Synagogue, and would he be able to bring you back to the Abrahamic God in the format of Christianity, or is that just something that at this point you think you're just fucking done with that?
Well, I tried reaching out to him as well as many other believers, and I wanted them to say the magic words or something that would move me or edify me in some kind of way or bring joy back into all of it. If you want to call it a crisis, I guess that's fine if that's the word you want to use for it. I don't see myself being pulled back. However, I did make a video, and you probably haven't had an opportunity to say that I am welcoming people if they want to come in and they want to try to do it, whether they're pagan, Christian, or whatever religion they are. They can try to say whatever they want. I'm a good listener.
No, I didn't see that video. So how long? It was like a couple days ago. I think it was Tentaise that I saw mention that your channel was gone. How long has your channel been down?
Well, don't know. It's probably been around 2 days. It's still going through that appeal process. It very well may come up, and if it does, I'll probably just, I guess, lock it down and go over and do the Brett Keane thing. I don't feel like going through the aggravation of editing all that. Those will just be considered archived videos.
Yeah. So I guess you're saying you're in that searching mode then. Like, you know, you're open to anybody. You know, if Ocean Keltoy wanted to come and talk to you about heathenry, you'd be open to it.
I've talked to Ocean before in the past. Used to hang out with him over Nadia's room. He's a wonderful person, extremely articulate, intelligent, very kind person. So I like listening to him, but I got to be honest, I was never moved towards paganism probably any more than you were.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been fascinated with folklore and the old myths, especially Norse mythology. Norse and Celtic mythology always fascinated me the most, and then probably the Hellenic gods right behind. You know, but I always kind of got into fantasy. And I think one of the reasons why I always kind of got into reading fantasy was because I always loved that historical time period. There was actually a point in my life where I would say fairly close to being considered an outright pagan. It would be back during my Native American spirituality days. You know, I could have very easily, you could very easily interpret the elders as gods, and or the ancestors as gods. So it could be easily construed as animal worship as well as polytheism. But yeah, I've never really become too swayed towards those religions since becoming an atheist. So I guess my question of the day, and you said that you're not really going back to atheism, but are you open to lack of belief, or are you certain that a deity exists? Are you open to an agnostic position at the end of your journey? Are you open to an atheist position at the end of your journey?
I don't know about the classic agnostic. That's one who believes it's impossible to know either way. I think the truth is out there. Either there's going to be a God or there's not. And I think that the knowledge will be learned at some point in time. As far as searching and all this, I'm open for the truth, but I think the search is over. I've searched for 44 years of my life for the truth, for what it is that people are trying to represent. And I feel like at this point, the only way I'm ever going to know anything is if whatever God or entity that is running the universe, if it exists, it'll have to show something. I'm tired of words of people. I need something more.
Yeah, well, I get that too. Yeah, people ask me if I'm going to die an atheist, and I say probably. You know, I think my journey seeking God's ended a long time ago, but you know, I can't tell the future, so there's no way for me to know. You know, shit, maybe one day a fucking angel pops up right out in front of me, you know, and I have no choice, right? Um, well, you do have a choice, because then, you know, my first question to be like, damn, am I crazy now? You know, but I don't know. I guess the point of this, and the reason why, you know, I wanted to approach it in this manner, and not bring up all the old shit is Brett. Like, I'm truly open to starting over with you. Like, I don't care about past shit. Now, you know, there would be some problematic things, like if some things were convictions. I only really care about right now in this moment. And you know, so I guess we'll see how this plays out. Like, I really hope and wish the best for you. I hope that you'll find some kind of medium to where you're comfortable, and maybe some of the toxic shit that seems to have happened can go away for you. You know, like but I guess we'll see. And that ball's really going to be in your court. Like I said, like, you know, it's going to take a lot for, I think, you to convince a lot of people, but that's something you seem willing to try. Just like it's going to be for me. You know, I've been a certain way. You know, people have resisted me or have wanted me not to attempt to change anything about myself. But I ultimately want to make myself a better person. You know, I don't want to be fucking pissed off all the time. You know, I think growth is necessary and common in human beings. And so I'm always open to growth in human beings. So yeah, I guess the point of all of this is I wanted to find out what was going on, you know, with you, and you know, tell you that I do appreciate the apology. We'll see where it goes, I guess. You know, I'm a kind of wait and see kind of dude. But I'm definitely willing to give you that chance, my dude.
Well, that's cool, man. You never know. Tomorrow I might be gone again. You know, I might decide to leave the hell out of this internet. I don't know. I'll probably try to open something on Friday, depending on what happens. Who knows? I'm willing to listen to anybody from any side of the equation. They can tell me whatever they like. I'll listen. I mean, I'm going to be pulled towards it, though, and I hope they remember that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my thing mainly is equality for people. You know, I don't like people using slurs. I think, you know, based on this conversation, that you seem to that seems to be one of the things that has really left a bad taste in your mouth over the years. So you know, I'm always down for somebody that's gonna try to keep that content clean. And you know, so I guess I'm really hoping that this is your eureka moment, and that this is your chance to start anew, and hopefully that happens for you, dude. You know, I am interested more in kind of like the shit that went down with Smokey and Will, but that's mainly, you know, my own psychological shit. So I've tried to kind of veer away from that. You know, we talked about it a bit, but I didn't want it to be focused on that, because, you know, I'm dealing with my own psychological shit, and I don't need to keep feeding that. You know what I'm saying? So I try to keep this very even keeled and away from Smokey and Will, away from your past shit. Like I said, I'm not concerned about that. I truly am kind of curious. You got me curious with your apology video. Like I said, I didn't expect it. I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, you got me curious.
I'll offer you a suggestion, Rage.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you and I, we've goofed on each other, and we've been silly, and you know, we're both stubborn, obviously.
Yeah,
but I think we're both fair, and we both have a great deal of empathy about us. When we look at the world, we see a lot of pain. We'd like to see changes. And I know you got people out there probably going to say the same damn thing about me, what I'm about to tell you, but you need to watch it with Will and Smokey. They're fucking dangerous and nasty ass people. I'm just going to put it out there. Just watch yourself. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah. And I've had a lot of people say that. And quite honestly, they're the main reasons I'm seeing a therapist right now. A lot of damage has been done. It's one thing to combat people when it comes to the atheism and religion thing, right? I think the moment that Jen Aldrich came on the stream, for instance, and he was calling her a whore and a thought and all that shit. The time that she came on and she was in her bra, that was the moment where it started to go just too far, and then it escalated into this fucking nightmare. And like, as you're experiencing things, you never really know how you're going to react to them, and you as you're getting emotional trauma and you're getting scarred psychologically, you don't necessarily know that that's what's happening to you at the time. You're going to react in the ways that you're going to react, and I certainly have reacted in mine. So yeah, no, I totally get that they're dangerous. In fact, I think that they intentionally try to be dangerous, and I think that they're not long for YouTube if they continue with these antics, but that it's ultimately going to be on YouTube. But yeah, I totally get the thing about the two of them. The thing is, the moment anybody truly backs down from them, like these people need to be hounded right up until that moment that YouTube takes them off. Because if anybody's going to be, it should be them. So
when you get an opportunity,
but for me to do it myself, definitely not going to be focused on that. I respond when I feel like I need to. But again, I don't watch their shit, so it's really like people coming to me and then me deciding if that's something that I should respond to. Like people coming to me because they're watching the shit and they think it's important enough that I should know.
Well, I don't know if you see your private chat or if you're having an issue with that, but
I usually keep it on the other chat, but yeah, I see it.
Make sure you copy those two things down. I guarantee after you watch those, you'll be able to do a few shows off of that.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely check them. Here, let me. I'm gonna put the links into my notebook, so yeah, later on I can pull them up. Yeah, I know that a lot of people are probably disappointed that this wasn't a rage thing, that especially, like I said, considering my last stream. But I think I was fairly blatant in that stream that the only reason I was doing it was a kind of direct retaliation to what had happened that Friday night with the whole ice cream cone thing, and that as long as you did it, I would do it. And you put out your apology video after that, the one stream that we were kind of talking about it. Like I said, I accept your apology. I totally understand why Sassy doesn't, but I think that's between you and Sassy. Especially if you continue to exhibit, some hey, I am trying to be a bit different here and to take responsibility for some of my actions. I think that's going to eventually go a long way, because I find Sassy to be a really reasonable person. But again, that's going to take some consistency on your part and showing, nobody in the side chat is going to believe that, Brett Keane is going to change overnight. I don't think Brett Keane thinks he's going to change overnight, but I think that if, we should at least be open to it. I'm hoping.
Yeah,
so not a rage stream like they were hoping.
If you have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, and you came right on, despite our recent bullshit. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on, Brett. I appreciate everybody stopping by. I'm gonna have a lot to mull over this and chew on, and I expected some like elaborate a scheme from Smokey and Will that you had figured out for them to get your channel taken down, but we don't. It's hard when you only have a couple comments in one of my videos. That's how we're communicating. That it's hard to know what's actually going on. So I got some things to consider.
You mind if I respond to some comments out there just real quick?
Sure, go for it.
There's some people out there who said, "Oh, Brett probably joined Christianity for some kind of money thing." If you go to my Patreon right now, you can see this for yourself, Raging. I have 2 patrons, okay? And one of them's an atheist, and the other one's a religious person. 2. And you know how much I get between them? Just enough to get a Snicker bars and some gum. That's about it. So I don't know what the hell these people are talking about. I'm doing it for money. I don't have the Pope over here like giving me like collection plate or any of that kind of stuff. What are they talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, I had a debate with Praise on Modern Day Debate because he just thought I was making all of this money, and I'm like, Praise, what fucking money am I making? Well, your channel's monetized. I'm like, you understand? I get like 2 cents a month, right? Like, I didn't have Patreon at the time. None of that stuff, but they just Praise automatically assumed that I was making all of this atheist YouTube money, and I'm like, dude, no, the fuck, man. So yeah, I totally get that, and I've participated in that. I've went at you at that. But I try to be honest and say that, I never watched you back in the day. Like when I met you, Brett, was like when me and you first started talking. I think you found me and started commenting, and that's how we started talking. So what I know about your past is just what I've heard from other people. Bernie Revolver did, you watched that stream, you saw that he did give me a couple channels that showed some of your old archives. And I've checked out a few of those. So I know a little bit more about the old Brett Keane than I did, but like I never watched you at the time. So it's like when I met you, that's when I met you. My only real experience of you is just our interactions. They've been up and down. Like there's been a lot of them over the last couple of years, so that's kind of my opinion on you. And if people judged me for what I did 20 years ago, nobody would fucking like me. I was a criminal. You wouldn't want to be around me. Right? Like I wouldn't trust myself around my old self right now. Like there's no way I'd go around that dude.
You do realize you can ask me anything you like. I'm not going to be offended, man.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, no. I'm kind of like wrapping this thing up. It's been about an hour and a half. I've got some editing work to do. I saw Tane just went live. I usually try to catch their streams. But yeah, so I'm kind of trying to put a bow on it. But you've always answered my questions. Now, a lot of people would probably question the truth of some of your answers, just like a lot of Christians question the truth of a lot of my haters question the truth of some of my answers sometimes. So, I've kind of been looking at the chat, trying to look at the chat a little bit more, and I'm not getting a feed on what the chat's feeling right now, but no, I know I can ask you anything. But I made a deal with myself. I'm not going to bring up your old shit. If you want to talk about your old shit, if you want to maybe address it, that's on you. But I told myself I wasn't going to do that when I talked to you tonight.
All right. Well, if you ever want to open up another one of these or just talk to me over on Facebook, you can ask me anything you want. If there's anything that you have concerns about, bring it up. I'll talk to you about it.
Well, mostly my concerns, like I said, is demonizing and othering of others. So if you're going to have a better crowd around you that's not going to do that, then mostly that's my issues.
Well, there are some people, I should have pointed this out earlier. It sounded like you were getting towards that. You were asking, am I going to try to find some better people? There are some people I am going to end up having to drop. And people are going to be like, oh, look, there's Brett doing it again and all that. But I have to get rid of people who are dragging me down and causing negativity. I keep getting myself in trouble from being around the wrong people. So sooner or later, there are some people I'm going to have to say, and you're not one of them, Rage, and I like the shit out of you. I think that you actually do have a positive side to you. But there are some people that got to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm somebody that's kind of guilty of putting guilt by association. So, it's just me. I'm a leftist. I don't want to. I'm not a racist. I don't want to hang around with a bunch of racists. So usually I have this very sometimes even physical reaction to it, right? Like, it's played out in my rooms over the last 4 years. If a bigot comes in, I have this visceral reaction to their bigotry sometimes. So yeah, I am very, to me, if you hang with a pit of vipers, you're probably a viper, right? So that's something that I'm trying to, I think I'm starting to get better at, is once again, making myself more open to people with opposing ideologies that I might sometimes be offended by, because once again, I start to find that once you shut down conversation, there's really no hope for the other to change. There's this thing going on in the atheist community that I'm thinking about talking about. I haven't decided if I'm going to, because if I do, whatever way I go on it, they're going to say that I'm just trying to get views, but it's not, because I think it's an important issue, and that is consistency and the ability for people to be wrong, and nobody's going to understand that, which is exactly why I said it that way, because I haven't decided if I'm going to talk about this thing. But yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point, Brett. I'm just like high and rambling.
It sounds like there's some things that you're seeing out on the internet that you feel that you need to address, and I understand that, and I don't have to be the one to tell you this, but remember, if you disagree with the wrong people and stuff, all of a sudden you become, what do they call it? A grifter, a shithead, all this kind of stuff. So be careful what hill you decide to die on. Sometimes you don't get up from it after they get done with you.
Yeah. Well, I guess the point is I'm trying to not be such a closed-minded person anymore. I'm really trying to open up conversations again with people that I shut down conversations with before. Bigots in my family, racists in my family, shit like that. I'm trying to be a lot more open-minded, and I'm trying to find an understanding of people to where I just shut down any attempt to find an understanding of them. So I'm going to see how that reflects, and if that's good for me. But I don't know. I've just come once again to the conclusion that I usually end up reaching, is that the moment you shut down conversation is the moment you allow bigotry to breed. We'll see how long I stay with that, because I often flip flop on it. Because, it could be, a month down the road, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just not going to platform Matt Powell anymore. I'm just not going to do it. But I often, like I said, I think that's a double-edged sword. So I don't know, just things that I'm considering right now. But I do need to put a bow on this. My daughter's actually spending the night with her friends tonight, so I can actually get some work done this evening, and not keep her up if I'm recording videos. So I'm going to try to get out of here and get that done. I do appreciate you coming on it and the talk, Brett. Interesting times. We'll see how this plays out. Definitely.
I got you one more link over there, and I think that'll make your toes twinkle a little bit. You're gonna be like, "Wow, that's crazy." Check that one out too when you get an opportunity. I'll
definitely check it out, man. Definitely.
All right, Rage, and I appreciate you having me on. And I really am sorry for the aggravation we've had in the past. And I am going to make an effort, at least between you and I, to get along better and try to have a healthy ass friendship if possible.
Yeah, and for my part, I do. I do get petty sometimes. I apologize for that shit. I intentionally was trying to hurt your feelings with my stream and my video, because I was pissed off at you, and that's not right. So, if you're going to apologize, I'll do the same. I do hope to have a positive relationship moving forward. But you know me, if I see bullshit, I'll call it out. Same with you, I'm sure.
It's all good, man.
And so I am going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm going to process this, and we'll see. We'll see where this goes. And I hope you get your channel back, especially if it was something that was done by Will and Smokey, like they're false flagging you or something. I'll never get behind that. I think everybody should have a voice, unless you're like a neo-Nazi. Again, I understand that there's history with you, Brett, but I hope you get your channel back, and that you can at least talk about the things you want to talk about.
It would be nice. Well, I'll see you later. You have a good one.
Yeah. You have a good one too. I'll talk to you later. He took it. I was gonna read it. I was gonna read it. Revolver Bernie. Knock expertly ball licking the worst of YouTube. Like I don't think I've been ball licking. Just asking some questions. Whatever. Sorry if it's not to your liking, Revolver Bernie. I'm sorry if I didn't, dox him.
There's, there's some people that you just can't get along with. It is what it
Well, I
is.
mean, I am who I am. Maybe I just haven't taken enough pills today. I haven't taken any today, so I'm not flipping out on you, Brett.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it makes everybody feel better, if Rage feels up to it sometime where he just wants to yell at me the whole time, we can do that too. Sound good?
Oh yeah, people love to hear me yell at people. But no, I thought it was an interesting conversation. I was interested in it, especially after you told me that you had left Christianity. I appreciate the apology video. I accept apologies when they're given. So yeah, I try not to be a dick about everything. I am an asshole about some things, but I am going to get out of here. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, everybody. And even, sorry I pissed you off, Bernie Revolver. I can only be me. I can't be you. Sorry about that. Amy, thanks for being here. I saw Kathy was here. Yeah, I haven't seen Kathy in a long time. Kathy, thanks for showing up. I don't have my Patreon screen completely done. I have been working on it today. Maybe that's one of the things I will finish tonight because I'm going to get to work, y'all. Y'all have a good night.